Hi, this is Omar at Top 5 ebikes, and in this video we're going to do a comparison of two super popular $1,000 bikes, the Radmission 1 by Rad Power Bikes and the Rideal by Ariel Rider. We'll go over the specs of each of these bikes, and then we'll talk about the similarities and the differences, and then finally we'll give you our final thoughts as to who these bikes, these particular bikes are good for, the type of rider that they're good for. I should mention that we have a few videos on each of these bikes already on our channel, so we'll link them in the description, and then we'll also probably pop in one of those links here at the top of the video. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, then please subscribe if you like this type of content, and please like this video as well. You can also leave some questions or comments that you have within the particular video, and then we'll try to respond to them. We'd also appreciate any feedback that you have. So again, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoy it, and let us know if you have any questions or comments. Thanks.
All right, so one of the reasons we wanted to do a comparison is you can see these bikes are very similar, right? They from like an aesthetics point of view, I mean, it's almost hard to tell them apart.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you saw these on the street, you might even think that this is a Rad Power Bikes or a Radmission. I mean, if you see like the tires, for example, you see both of them have reflectors.
Yep, I mean the battery, the orientation of the battery, it's kind of exposed. The controller, I mean, it's very similar. I would say also the lights, right?
Yeah, integrated lights for both. So brake light, headlight. You can't see this because we're not zooming in, but if we were zooming in over the handlebars, the same type of handlebar. You also have, both of them have very similar LCD displays, which in other parts of the video we'll probably have, you'll be able to see it, but at least for now you can't see any of that. But looks very
weight-wise, they're very close. I think this one is 48 pounds without the accessories. That one I believe is 50 or 54 pounds. We'll have to check that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like just having a bike that's easy to kind of handle and you know, carry, you know, maybe it's up a flight of stairs or something. They're pretty similar in that regard.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. We thought it would be useful to see side by side. Like you could see that very similar. We got the step side for both of these, so it's the same type of frame, and they look very alike. So at least at first glance, these bikes are very similar. Yeah. Here in a sec, we'll get to the areas or we'll highlight the areas where they're different.
The Ariel has a mid step and a high step, just like the Radmission. So, yeah. And this one has 3 colors, I think, and I believe this has 4 maybe. 4?
Yeah, quite a few more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more, but pretty similar at least when it comes to the aesthetics. But the next part of this video, we're going to talk about the differences because there are quite a few differences in these two bikes.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so now that we just talked about some of the similarities with these two bikes, let's talk about some of the differences. And I'm going to start off with my favorite one, which is the price. So at least for now, at the time that we're filming this, Ariel's selling the Rideal for $999, so it's under $1,000. Whereas a Radmission is
$1,100.
Yeah, so it's $1,100. Right, so there is a $100 price difference right now between these two bikes. So that's the first.
And that's $1,100, not counting the rear rack and not counting the fenders. If you add those two options, then it's another $140 on top of the $1,100. Right?
Yeah. So at least compare like bikes that are being delivered with the same like without accessories. It's $100 difference between the Rideal and the Radmission. So that's the first difference.
What about the drivetrain?
Drivetrain is another big one. So that's probably the other big one here in that this one has 6 gears. So this bike, in comparison to the Radmission, which is a single speed, this is a 6 gear. And so And
this one's a little more versatile.
definitely,
Right.
definitely. So we talked about it in our previous video for the Radmission. We talked about how that bike is better suited for someone that's going to ride it on a flat terrain. So if you're, no hills, this bike is a little bit more versatile in that sense. In that if you live somewhere where it's hilly, it's fine to get this bike because you have gears.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about, you'll mention another big difference here in a sec, Damien, but yeah, so this one's a little bit more versatile in terms of like where you could ride it versus the Radmission, which is something that we would suggest mostly for someone that's going to go ride in flat areas.
Well, if you want to talk about hills, and especially if you're carrying cargo, or if you're maybe a bigger person, that has a 750 watt motor. That is the biggest difference between these two bikes, right? So for $1,000, you're getting a 750 watt motor with the Rideal, right? And the force of torque that you get with that is 65 Newton meters. With the Radmission, it's only 50.
Yeah, and you can feel it. You can feel it.
Totally.
I mean, we didn't film this, but earlier we were riding both of these bikes around, and we did a race between Damien and I. I was on the Rideal, and I obviously weigh more than Damien does, and I took off on the Rideal.
Oh,
so,
yeah, you left me in the dust.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, we obviously didn't test this, and we're not engineers, and we didn't test it with 750 watts. It's pretty clear that this motor is it's
a much
more
faster
powerful
bike, more powerful, way more thrust. And in that regard, it's probably not as safe as the Radmission, right? The Rad makes, I think, safer, more like, less aggressive bikes, I would say, overall. So it makes sense that, Ariel is going for a little bit more of like a speedster.
Yeah, it's
kind of
definitely
bike.
more of a performance bike, I would say.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because, like you're saying, Ariel makes some pretty powerful performance-driven bikes. And this is another example of it. I mean, even their entry-level bike compared to a very similar bike, like this has way more power.
Yeah.
Like you could just feel it. The first time I rode it, I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't let my mom ride that bike, or a child.
Well, right. And I think I talked about in the video where the Radmission video, I mentioned that my father-in-law had ridden the Radmission. I don't think I'd let my father-in-law ride this one because he would probably go crazy with it.
Yeah. Drive off.
Yeah, but I mean,
drive off a cliff or something.
But it's still, this isn't. We're not talking about 35 or 40 miles per hour. We're talking about, probably
24,
25, 26. So definitely faster than the Radmission.
Yeah.
And if you were riding with someone with the Radmission, this bike would leave the Radmission in the dust for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I would say those are the biggest differences. We'll get into more details. We've obviously talked in more detail about these bikes, but those are the main things.
Yeah, for sure. Lots more to share though.
All right, so now that we've seen that we've talked about the similarities and differences of these e-bikes, let me just close it out. I should mention that Rad Power Bikes did adjust the price of the Radmission, so it's actually $100 cheaper now. So now it's the same price as a Rideal. So big note. Obviously, at the time we filmed, it was a little bit more expensive. It was $100 more expensive. So let me just close this out by saying that these are both great e-bikes at $1,000. Like, you can't get more value out of $1,000 than these two e-bikes. Similar, as far as like the profile of the person who would, who should be buying these e-bikes, is probably really similar. So obviously, budget-wise, it's going to be the same. You're looking for a commuter that doesn't, that if you're mostly going to stick to roads or paved roads, then either one of these bikes would be great for you. I would say that the main difference in terms of the profile of the person who's going to buy the Rideal versus a Radmission would depend on how much power you want in the bike. So if you're looking for a bike and you're okay with a bike that's going to go around 20 miles per hour, then I would say definitely stick to the Radmission. That's an amazing bike. You get amazing value. You have the backing of Rad Power Bikes, which is the biggest brand out there for e-bikes, and they have a big support system and funding behind it. So, you can't go wrong with that particular e-bike. But if you're looking for an e-bike that's going to give you a little bit more power, you got a little bit oomph, a little bit more, you take off and you can feel it, then the Rideal is going to be the bike for you. So there's also the gears. So if you needed gears, then that would obviously, you know which one your choice is going to be there, which would be the Rideal if you needed gears. But I would say in general, it's probably going to come down to the power of the bike, and then also which company do you feel comfortable buying from? Do you feel comfortable buying from the big, do you want to buy from the biggest company out there, which is Rad Power Bikes, or do you want to buy from a smaller company like Ariel Rider, which, by the way, provides pretty good support based on what we see in the groups out there. Also, that's one of the few bike brands that's actually communicating with clients about all these delays that are happening currently in the e-bike market. So not many brands are super proactive about what's happening, and the owner of Ariel Rider actually communicates with some of the people because the company is still on the smaller side. So again, depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for power, then that should help you decide. Also, if you're leaning towards one of the brands, if you prefer one of the brands over the other, that could help you decide which one of these two bikes you would get. But again, both great e-bikes. We've been riding both of these for a while. We've enjoyed both of them. Provide a ton of value at $1,000 for a commuter e-bike that you could get a decent amount of range out of. So let us know if you have any questions or comments, what you think about our comparison. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, you should subscribe so you get notifications when we publish new videos. So again, thank you for watching. Let us know if you have any questions or comments.
If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment. Visit us at top5ebikes.com or some of our social media accounts. Thank you.